what we're going to talk about here is Discord, and we're going to talk about using it in a to run an online class or as sort of a supplemental tool for an online class. So just a quick talk about the history of Discord. Discord was created by it rose out of the video game community as a way for people who are playing video games to have a shared text chat and have voice chats where they could talk to each other while they're playing video games. And this kind of grew very large within the video game community. And once the pandemic hit earlier this spring, 2020, Discord has grown in its capacity. It's added a whole bunch of features, and it's also sort of rebranded and geared itself more towards just as a general thing for anybody. So not just for video game nerds, for nerds of every feather. You can use Discord now, and it's going to be helpful to you. So you might actually find that this is not only a great way to run a class, but a club, or maybe if you want to with your friends or relatives, want to have sort of an online meeting place where you can share news or talk to each other online. It's a pretty good tool for that. So let's get right into it. If you go to discord.com, you can get started very easily. They have a great startup process, which I'll walk you through now and kind of talk about the virtues of. So we'll open Discord in our browser now. There's a download button here. I strongly recommend that you download the app for Discord. It's just going to play nicer with your microphone and your speakers and all that other good stuff. So go ahead and download it. I'm not going to download it here because I don't want to mess with my downloaded copy. So I'm just going to start it in my browser. So the first thing it asks you to do is enter a username. So I'm going to put in something creative. And you can pick anything you want. It doesn't care about unique names. You could put your name or whatever in it, and it'll be available unless there happens to be 10,000 other people with the same idea. So pop that in there, and it's gonna thinky, and then it's gonna start up. Welcome to Discord. So it'll ask you for a date of birth because of, I don't know, reasons. So as any good citizen of the internet, I'm gonna say my birthday is January 1st. Naturally, you should put your real birthday in here. But anyway, moving on, hitting next, we go in here. We're going to create our first Discord server. And so you can create your own. That's super customizable. It'll give you something very empty. But you can also choose a starting point, like a little template. And the nice thing about the templates is they're something that it'll do a little bit of the organization for you up front, or give you kind of a sensible starting point that you can build from. So because we're doing this for online classes, we'll pick study group because that's kind of the closest thing we have here. So we'll grab that. And let's say I'm doing it for a class, some 400 level class that doesn't exist, for 28. Wait, is that real? That might be real. 479.03, whatever, some CMSC class. Pop that in there, and boom, here's your server. And all of the servers that you as a user belong to will be listed here on the left hand side. And since this is a fresh account, I'm only in the one that I just created. So what I have over here are some channels, and the channels with a little hashtag, pound, octothorpe, whatever you want to call it, are text channels. And text channels, if you've ever used Slack or any other kind of instant messaging app, you can type stuff here, and you can post images, you can put in GIFs if you want. Like, I'll put in one of it's a hungry mouse from Tom and Jerry, right? So you can put all sorts of stuff in here and communicate with each other. And yeah, and you can post links and they'll all work. It's nothing special here in terms of text chat. I guess the one thing that is kind of special, if you're doing a coding class, you can do 3 back quotes, which are the ones underneath the tilde, 3 back quotes, and then the name of the language. So we'll do Python, and then you can do, say, like, print hello. And what that'll do is it gives you syntax highlighting, which is nice, and it's pretty, and it's got a fix with font and all that good stuff. So if you're dropping large tracks of code into your Discord channel, it'll be fairly easy to read. So aside from the text channels, which are useful but maybe not the most exciting, we have the voice channels, and the voice channels are really what keep me going to Discord for running my classes, because I think there's not really anything super special about them other than their persistence. And the interesting thing about their persistence is you put them over here, you can give them names to kind of categorize why someone might use that room, and then they're there. So I'm going to join one, and I'll use it. Yes. Oh, I joined a voice channel. Fantastic. So now I'm in a voice channel, and you can see it lights up when I'm talking. And what I can do is anyone who's in the Discord channel or looking at Discord can see that the user something creative is in a voice chat. And they might say, oh, that person's on, I wanted to talk to them. And they can hop in there, and you can have sort of an impromptu meeting. So it's a great place to run office hours, because you can kind of just sit somewhere, and then people can come and go. They can see, oh, the professor's with 4 or 5 students, maybe I should wait a bit because I'm just going to have to talk. Or they can hop in and just listen. I sometimes have students come to my office hours just to soak it in. Like, they might not have a specific question, but they're just generally feeling a little lost, so they come to watch the madness unfold, so to speak. What's really great about this is if I'm running office hours in here and I have 5 or 6 people, one thing that frequently happens is someone will ask, well, can I show you what I've done for this project or assignment? And, in normal office hours, you just look at their computer or piece of paper or whatever, and it's fine. But if you have them share their screen here, everyone is going to see that particular student's homework solution, which you're probably not big on. So what you can do is you can make a channel that's visible to only you, and you can drag yourself and you can drag the other student into that one-on-one channel, where then they can share their screen with you, and you can help them out with the problem they're having, and then go back and rejoin the wider audience. This is great, and this is one of the things that I haven't really been able to find a good solution for in any other sort of online communication tool, is this notion of having a group conversation, going in a one-on-one with a person from that group, and then both of us returning back to the larger group. I just haven't found anything else that lets me conveniently do that, and it's the best facsimile that I've found for in-person office hours in terms of like privacy and having one-on-one conversations while still having other people able to observe them, and so on and so forth. Beyond that, it's nothing exciting. You can share your screen, you can share your video. The quality is not going to blow your minds or anything like that, but it's not bad. It's perfectly adequate. But I think here the real differentiator is having this ability to manage a group conversation easily. Another thing I wanted to touch on is, well, okay, I have this server. How do I get people into it? So if you follow all these little fun, bright tips and all that good stuff, you'll figure it out, but I'll just show you real quick. You can go here and invite people, and it gives you this invite link that expires in 1 day. You can set it to never expire, or you can hit this little gear down here and have it expire after some fixed amount of time, or after some maximum number of uses. And what this is nice for is if you're sending out this invite link to a class of 40 students, you can say either you have until tomorrow to get in here, or else you're going to need another invite link, or you can just make the max number of uses expire at a certain point, which will help prevent you from getting, what are they calling it, Zoom bombed or whatever? Because even if the link to your Discord channel gets out, if you have 40 students in your class and you have a 50 use link, you're only going to have to kick 10 people. So nice. So yeah, you have this link and you can send it out in an email to students. So that's great. And then everybody can hop in and you can start running your class or running your discussions, however you like to do that. There is an incredibly robust moderation system in here for you to basically lock down certain functionalities and behaviors for different people in the server. So any of these channels on the side here, you can make visible or invisible to certain roles. And so if you go to your server settings and you go to roles, you can make, say, for example, a professor's role. And you can set that to administrator. I'm going to go... All of these are fairly self-explanatory and also kind of obvious why they're useful, but I want to go over some that are sort of sleeper hits. They're really useful, and I hadn't thought that they were useful initially. Embed links is great. If you turn this, you can turn this off for people in certain channels, and what that does is it makes it so that, or you can make it for everybody in a particular channel. It makes it so that, like when I put that Tom and Jerry GIF in there, I can only do that in a server where I have embed link permission. Otherwise, it will just show the link. And what that does is it lets you keep some channels much cleaner in terms of how much like visual content is there. You can keep them more looking like text, which I think is useful because it keeps the text channel much more conversation oriented instead of, you know, sharing a bunch of jokes and things like that. Definitely want to enable this on your memes channel so people can get their memes out of their system. I say that as if I'm not a huge offender on that myself. And then another one is... priority speaker I had totally forgotten about. You can enable this role for yourself, which you then get a keybind that you hold down and it will drown everyone else out in the voice chat you're in by making them softer. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to speak over everyone without screaming or turning your microphone volume up really high, and so on and so forth. And then there's one more. Where is it? C channels. And so you can have different visibilities and things like that. So you can hide channels, but I already mentioned that. Where the devil is it? So there's one in here about nicknames that I can't find. Oh, change nickname. If you disable change nickname, what that lets you do is change students' nicknames to their real names, and then they can't change it back. So then when you have a student join your channel, their name might be something like I have, like something creative or whatever. And you're like, I don't know who that is. And so what you can do is when somebody joins the server, you can click on their name, you can send them a message and say, hi, what's your name? And they'll tell you their name, and then you can switch it, and then they won't ever be able to switch it back. I've found with small classes, if you ask them in a blanket way, can you please add a nickname for yourself that is your real name, they'll comply. They just will. Because it's I think most people understand the value of getting rid of anonymity to create a civil online discourse. So most of them will. For a large class, we've created a way to automatically do this because I don't want to do it for 400 students. Yeah, and that kind of brings us into how we've been using Discord for large classes. My opinion, you're probably going to get 90 to 100% of what you need for a small class with what I've just shown you. This might even be overkill. You might not even need roles. If you have a graduate course or an upper level course, or you're using this to communicate with your TAs, you might have enough trust in your students that you don't need to go locking stuff down. But you might not. You might have a class of several hundred students, and so you need to automate a lot of these things that I just talked about. So what Discord allows you to do is you can custom program a bot, and the bot will do some automation tasks, or rather administration and moderation tasks automatically for you, which is really great. So what we have here is we wanted to create an office hours solution for our students to be able to go get help from our TAs. So we would have, for instance, I think there were 400 students or so in 202 in the spring semester and 20 to 30 TAs. And so getting the 20 or 30 TAs to be able to help that large amount of students, we needed a solution. And so students would be able to go into a waiting room and then use exclamation point request and say, please help me. I am tired and haven't seen natural light. But really this would be number 3 on homework or something like that. And so they put their request in. The bot immediately slurps it up and hides it so students aren't, their requests don't linger, and so they don't get self-conscious. And then there's a instructors area, only visible to instructors, where this request will appear. In that instructors area, a TA or professor can hit accept, and what that will do is, come on, there it goes. It will consume that request off of the top of the queue, and it will open up a private chat between the student who made the request and whoever accepted the request, which in this case were both me, so I'm being introduced to myself here by the very helpful bot. And you'll notice here on the left-hand side, it says session for Prof J. So these channels are only visible to the student who made the request and course staff, which is actually really cool because the TA who's helping the student isn't the only one who can see it. Professors can see it, other TAs can see it, and so sometimes I will just pop in and they will ask me a question. They'll go at Prof J and how do, like a TA will ask me a question, and if I'm around, I can swoop in and answer the question the TA has for the student instead of the TA having to come offline and ask me and then the student's waiting and so on and so forth. And they also get their own private voice chat where the TA and the student can share their screens with each other, have a chat, everything's lovely. The last item that we have enabled here for the bot is this authentication channel, wherein you can go and be auth, and then what we do is we supply the students with unique keys, so my key, blah, 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 and if it recognizes the key, it will label the person that put that key in with the name that we have for them from our roster and move them into the wider area. So if you're not an authenticated person, all you can see is this landing pad, which tells you how to get authenticated, and then also the authentication channel. And then once you're authenticated, you can see everything else. So this is a nod towards trying to keep these kinds of things reasonably private and making it so that not just any old person with the link can get in. They actually have to have a link and some student's key that is as yet unused. And this is large. I mean, we have had no problems thus far with a bunch of unrelated outsiders coming in and interrupting, disrupting our channel. So that's been really useful to us. This is probably way too much functionality or unnecessary functionality for a small class, but if you have a large class and you're interested in using this functionality, feel free to contact me on Discord. I am Prof J 2025. So you can also make me the first person you send a direct message to. Isn't that exciting? So I hope this was helpful. This is sort of meant as like an introduction and also a bit of a sales pitch in terms of why you might be interested using this in your class and sort of why I've adopted it and find it useful. I'm waiting for the day that something better comes along or this gets improved further. But for the time being, this is my favorite bit of strangeness out there. So have a nice day, and don't hesitate to either leave a comment on this video or reach out to me on Discord if you have any questions. Have a good day.